So this is an interesting topic because Mexicans were defined as white by treaty under the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo after the Mexican-American War, because at the time only Africans and white people could become citizens of the U.S. So this was just basically implied because the law only allowed those two groups, and Mexicans obviously were not like defined as that. But because they were going to be given citizenship after the war if they chose to remain on American soil, well, the newly won American soil at the time, instead of going back to Mexico or declaring themselves Mexican citizens, this was implied that they were white by treaty. Following this, there were legal battles. For example, in 1897, there was Rodriguez who was trying to get his citizenship in Texas, but he had to go to court over it because there was opposition to this. At the time, again, they just referenced the fact that only white people and Africans could get citizenship and that he was not from either race. He ended up winning the case. The judge ruled in his favor, citing the 14th Amendment, and that regardless of origin or race, you could obtain American citizenship. But this case served to only reinforce the Treaty of Guadalupe in defining Mexicans as legally white for a lot of legal purposes. And this is just literally some actual dialogue from 1897 where he was being questioned by the opposition, where they were asking him, do you belong to the Aztec race of Mexico? And he said, no. Do you belong to the race of Spain? And he said, no. What race? And he said, I don't know. So again, this all goes all the way back to over a century. But yeah, nowadays, this is pretty outdated. There's no need for this to be the case, for Mexicans to be legally white, but it's still, or Latinos or Hispanics in general, but it's there, honestly, unless like we change it or we identify something else, because now you have the ability to. But a lot of times, I used to work for a police department. On the reports, we would always default Latinos or Hispanics as being of the white race automatically. And of course, this has the basis on well over a century ago as to why we do that. But nowadays, you have the freedom to identify the actual correct race that a lot of Mexicans or Latinos would be. So you could actually identify as American Indian if you'd like, or both, or whatever the hell you want. But now you have that freedom. That's the whole point of that. In the past, this designation was very necessary because times were different. And so it was a victory back then for Mexicans to be defined as legally white, because that's the only way they would have rights.